Yo, what up, LinkedIn? So, managed transportation, it's a hot new topic. What is it? Well, in my eyes, it's a one-stop shop. This is all I've done in my career. And I think that there's a lot of confusion because it could be called, I mean, again, every company, every person specifically might have their own little way of what they call it, and it could mean anything, right? Managed trans could be fully outsourced. You as the customer don't deal with it at all. Where we bring in, you guys have us hire people to come into your plants, and they might even be on your payroll. I have never done that, or to the point where you just handle your contracts and we handle the tech, the managing, the auditing. I've done one of those. The pay is kind of crappy on that anyways. You do a lot of work. I'm just saying, I'm just being honest. But the best one is where you can just collaborate and we make money off shipping, right? That's where the bread and butter is, right? We mark it up a little bit, but you're still saving money. Yes, you could sit there and say, well, we don't want to, you're undercutting us. Listen, everybody's got to get paid. And if you got to come to that realization if you haven't. So price has to be there, right? And, doing this 8 years, working with any companies that, like I said, just have done bare minimum 50,000 all the way up to 19 million, right in that sweet spot is where it's needed the most. It's literally those companies that do the 50. If you do under $1 million and you're quoting out to everybody, just stop. I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant there, but just stop. I mean, if you do under 5 million, I'd say just stop, unless you have like it dialed in. Your TMS is already integrated into your ERP. You're getting visibility into customer profitability and all of that jazz. Cool. But if you don't, stop quoting everything out, especially your LTL. But now that's where that's where the companies that need it the most. Now, just over the I've always worked with CPG companies, but I've always dabbled in everywhere. If you had I still do a little bit, but if you had challenges and you were looking for, I've always worked for 3PLs that could provide the one-stop shop from, volume and scale when it came into going out and negotiating carrier rates, to technology as in visibility, to, dedicated customer service, just being resources, right? But the last few years, I've really dialed it in with like emerging and high growth stage CPG companies, just because there's a lot of moving parts in there, especially because, they're going into, most of them want to get into these big box retailers, and a lot of them get in there and they're getting dinged with this fee, that fee. Tons of, don't know why, don't have a root cause analysis, don't know the cost to serve, to where it's like, I'm going in to be the guy that says, okay, yeah, I don't know why you're using these carriers. They're not even really a carrier that goes into these distribution centers. Let's build out a carrier strategy, right? We'll use our volume and scale combined with yours. You'll still get a diverse profile of carriers, but let's dial it in specifically for you. Okay, cool. That's freight. Then it's really more or less of, okay, cool. Let's sit down and what does your customers want? What are their wants and needs? Because you have to build some type of strategy around that. And it sounds crazy, but if you're running a business, you have to build some type of strategy and and a game plan for that, right? And believe it or not, if you're shipping product into retailers, your supply chain and transportation is a I say top 5 P&L, right? So you got to figure that out, right? Building a solution strategy around that so it tailors to those wants and needs. And then after that, tailor it to your wants and needs. Now, how are you pricing your product, right? When you're selling it, do you know the cost to serve? Eventually it's like, hey, maybe you're not in Walmart yet, right? But then you want to get into Walmart. It's on your list. Wouldn't it be a lot easier if you already knew, if you already had someone, if you already partnered with a 3PL that knew, hey, this is the cost to serve it's going to be if hypothetically we get into these Walmarts, right? So when you go into a meeting, you can actually have a strategic plan saying, hey, listen, well, this is what we're going to charge you. And again, it's just putting more ammo into my customers' hands when it comes into building out a scalable supply chain, driving costs out, increasing customer service, mitigating risk, and really increasing profitability, right? Because again, I see it the biggest factor right there is you're going to save more money by having me do a cost to serve analysis and properly allocating your transportation costs than are doing that year over year than you're going to by tossing out your freight to everybody and doing these RFPs, especially if you're not past $5 million in transportation, and especially if you're doing LTL. If you do LTL, to go with 1-3PL or carriers direct, but I say go with the 1-3PL, but we'll pause that for another day, but just stop quoting the LTL out. It's a mess. It's the worst thing you could do with everybody. So cost to serve is those little processes are going to save you a ton more money. Not even just save you, but more or less increase profitability on things that you might have never even knew because you didn't have any type of like key cost drivers or visibility into that. So again, I'll slow it down. Yes, we do. We will combine our volume and scale to build you out specifically a tailored program for pricing. You're gonna maximize your buying power, and then you're also gonna get the diverse profile of carriers. But you don't need every carrier. You're not big. If you're not a mass of a company, you don't need every carrier. Now, we give you all the technology for free. If you need it, you will need it. But eventually, we give it for free. You don't have to have this massive integration. From a visibility standpoint, I don't know about anybody else, but I have to I want to know what certain metrics are wanting to be tracked. Do they make sense? I'm going to offer an opinion because, again, I don't want to tell someone how to run their company, but if I'm meeting with a CPG company that does protein bars, I've met with and worked with 1 million of those companies or 100 of those companies. So I know what works, takes little pieces of this works, that doesn't work, this works. I'm going to offer solutions. So we're going to build that around what your customers' wants and needs are, what your needs are, and then we're also going to save you some money on some freight. That's a one-stop shop. I'm tired. Managed trans.